Hey guys, Phil here, coming at you from Tohoku, Japan, talking again about this coronavirus situation over here. Now, sorry, first of all, that the camera is kind of moving around and all that because I'm shooting this on my phone because I've already packed up my real camera. And the reason I packed up my camera is because I'm going out to play tonight. Some of you have seen I've got some guitars and all that stuff around here. So I'm also a musician and I'm playing a show tonight. I don't think there's going to be anybody there, but then there never is when I play. So it's pretty much life as normal. But yeah, things up here in Tohoku have not changed that much, but things have really changed down in Tokyo. This weekend is supposed to be the first of perhaps many, voluntary lockdown weekends. Though, judging by the way it's going, I'm not sure that it's going to be voluntary for that much longer. There's some frustration. And what I want to show is something that's interesting about the media here. And the media here, of course, wants to show that people are doing the right thing because that motivates other people to do the right thing. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff that's on the mainstream, if you want to call it that, media, that shows the empty streets and the empty train stations and the empty this and the empty that, which is nice. But so that's what you're seeing here. I'm putting that over my voice. I hope you're seeing the stuff from the TV. But if we switch and look at live webcams, I've captured some live webcams and some stuff from Twitter and things like that, you'll see that maybe it's not quite as barren and desolate as the media would have you believe. And the truth is that people are not staying home completely. There's still a lot of people out there and about and doing their thing. And so that kind of shows itself in the numbers, I think. One of these videos you're going to see that I got from Twitter is of people sitting around the park, and it's cherry blossom season here in Japan, which is the most beautiful season if you're coming to Japan next year. And people do this thing which is called hanami, which means flower viewing, and people get together and with friends and they sit underneath a cherry tree, and it's this kind of the start of the year kind of thing, start of spring and all that stuff. Now, it was last weekend that was the big hanami weekend, and everybody knew that because here in Japan you have the cherry blossom watch on TV and everything like this. They're really into it. So everybody knew that last weekend was going to be the big weekend in Tokyo. They should have had this voluntary or mandatory lockdown last weekend. So I think what we're going to see is sometime in the middle of next week a big spike in the cases if they're testing, because everybody was together last weekend. People are together a little bit this weekend. But yeah, they closed the barn doors after the horse left, that's for sure. So the numbers are up. I use a couple of different websites and the totals are different, but the differences are the same. So whatever that means. And one of them might include the cruise ship, I'm not sure. So what we're seeing is about 71 to 80 new cases today. The majority of those, at least 60 of those being in Tokyo. The majority of testing, of course, also being in Tokyo. Number of tests is about 1,800 to 1,900, which quite frankly is pretty poor, but a lot better than it used to be. So the more you test, the more you find, and that's the way it's going to go. So it's a strange thing. We've got the other. I just want to quickly go through the other kind of news. Again, we have the Tokyo governor saying that people come to Japan next year and look at the cherry blossoms, but again, it's a bit late. It's over. I don't know what they were thinking. Well, of course, last weekend we still believed, or were led to believe, that the Olympics was going to happen, so that's why they didn't do it. And what's the other story? Tokyo Disneyland. First they closed March 1st and said they were going to open on the 15th. And then they said they were going to open on March 30th. And now they're saying they're opening at the earliest April 20th. So we'll see, things are slowly becoming more dire, and people are being maybe more realistic or whatever. The Osaka governor has also asked people to refrain, as he says, well, he said it in Japanese, but I'm going to say it in English, refrain from making non-essential outings. So you have a kind of voluntary lockdown in Osaka as well. And between now and April 12th, so 2 weeks of voluntary lockdown they're asking for. And the U.S. aircraft carrier that's there's a big U.S. naval base outside of Tokyo, and there has been ever since that guy put his ship in Tokyo Harbor in the 1800s. But 2 sailors aboard the aircraft carrier, the Ronald Reagan, have tested positive, and that means that the Yokosuka naval base is on lockdown. And yeah, so sailors go on shore, and maybe they were not told to not do that, but then they got this a couple of weeks ago, right? Everything is 2 weeks behind. So that's the news from Japan. That's what's happening. We're starting to see more, nothing like, what's happening in America, globally, of course. I'm not really here to talk about the global situation because you have a lot better people than me to talk about that, but globally, by the time we've watched this, we've probably broken the 600,000 mark, thanks to an incredible effort by the Americans to push themselves into number 1. And it's quite a crisis, and I think we're just at the opening wedge of this. We'll see what happens. And on another note, Bob Dylan has released a new album. So there you go. Timing is everything. See you around.